you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
Ken, as I like to call him, my least favorite Martin, chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
The other night I said to myself for the first time, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Matt Flynn.
You go into combat and the general goes, I'm afraid. It reminds me of the coach of the Jets back in the 90s. The other team would come on the field and say, boy, they look big. No, I swear to God. And the Jets lost 12 games. I mean, right. You can't have this kind of stuff. Get this guy out of here. Put in Ben Wickler.
The Todd Albaugh Show. Weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Dr. Kristen Lyerly Show.
This week, I'm flipping the script on Night Lite's own Pete Schwaba.
I'm very uncomfortable with this.
It's going to be so good.
Saturday. Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Lite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right.
And now, a guy whose house has an actual wiggle room, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome to Night Light, ladies and gentlemen. I've been waiting for you. So glad you're finally here. It is Wednesday night in the beautiful state of Wisconsin, and it's supposed to be summer. I don't know if it feels like summer to you. It doesn't necessarily to me, but it's still a beautiful night because we're all here together, and we've got some things to talk about, maybe some laughs to be had. Lots of great stuff going on here tonight at Night Light. Hope you had a great day. Great to have you here on the show, and I hope we can help you wind down from whatever your day brought you. Even if you had a lot of laughs already, let us inform and hopefully share a few smiles. Conrad, how you doing? How was your birthday?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So usually you're here a couple minutes after me every night, at least. I'm out the door by like 7:59 and 30 seconds. And last night, you made tracks so fast getting out of here. I thought, you're not just going home. You're going out to party with some friends, and they're waiting for you.
No, I went home.
Really?
I told you I was going to go to the store, grab some chicken, and make it. That's exactly what I did.
You didn't even get, like, takeout on your birthday? I would have sprung for that. I would have gotten you some fish tacos at Hagermeister Park or something like that, or the Heights.
I didn't want to spend that much money.
Okay. Even if it wasn't yours? All right.
Yeah.
You're just that kind of guy. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you had a good birthday. I know you're celebrating actually this Monday. I'm sorry, this weekend, and that sounds like a lot of fun. So we've got a great show tonight. This is exciting. Tonight, we've been talking a lot about Sydney Sweeney's Dr. Squatch product, which is a soap called Bath Time Bliss, I think, and it's Sydney Sweeney's bath water that they use to add to actual soap. So fellows or women or whomever wants to smell like Sydney Sweeney's bath water can use the soap, and it is quite expensive. What did we say? How much was it?
It now goes for like $1,000 something
per bar.
Yeah,
or case.
No, they don't sell cases. Actually, they only sell it by one.
They sell it by the bar.
Yeah,
and it's $1,000 a bar.
Yep,
and no one is using it to cleanse themselves.
Nope,
that's so
just smell
strange.
I went to Target a couple days ago. Just was like, maybe they have it. No, they didn't.
Yeah, I don't think Target is.
No,
you know what's weird? Like. There's no way it's even her bath water. I mean,
no,
it's not. It's probably nothing, or it's probably the guy, like some dude's bath water.
I'm thinking they got one little small tube of it and put one drop in every one.
Probably, I'm sure. Because what is she supposed to do? Bathe all day?
I mean, if you saw the photo shoot they did, she was in a bathtub.
Right. You had me at bathtub.
So maybe the bathtub from the photo shoot. You're like, all right, Sydney, get out. We're going to collect the samples.
Now Doug the janitor's going to hop in and get his hairy back all over the water. I just don't think, there's no way they're doing that. It's just a big whatever. There's probably like 3 bars. So technically it's not fraud, you know. They're like, anyway, we've got an actual executive. Bob Bremerton is going to be here at 6:35. And he oversees Sweeney Products LLC, I think it's called. We were able to get Bob. He's happy to come on and talk about some other products that Miss Sweeney will be selling, that all, I assume, other products involve parts of her body or I don't know, bodily fluids, whatever it is. But we'll talk to Bob at 6:35, and he'll give us the rundown. And maybe, if you want, you got to get in on these products earlier. Because remember, like 2 weeks ago, Conrad, it was only $50 a bar or something like that, which is still outrageous. But
yeah, now it's just reselling like hotcakes, you know?
Yeah. And, well, I stopped myself from making a terrible joke. So anyway, Bob will be here at 6:35. That'll be fun. We'll talk about some other Sydney Sweeney products that maybe you can get in on. And, Father's Day is this weekend. Maybe your husband or significant other wants to, be reminded of Sydney Sweeney on Father's Day. So we'll talk about all of that at 6:35 with Bob. Then our pal, Rich Tallarico. Rich is a Key and Peele writer. He's written for Mad TV. And I think Rich, last time he was here, said he did a season on Saturday Night Live, too. So Rich is hilarious. We'll talk to Rich. Maybe we'll get his take on the Sydney Sweeney bathwater soap dealio. And then Rich has a new project in the works. And he's going to tell us all about that, too. That's at 6, what are we talking there? 6:49, right, Conrad? No, yeah. 6:52. And we'll keep Rich for a couple segments through the news. That'll be fun. Rich is always a blast. Those of you who don't know, Rich wrote the substitute teacher sketch for Key and Peele, which is hilarious. Do we still have a snippet of that?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find it. Maybe we can play it after
it.
the break. But Rich will be here at the end, near the end of the first hour. And then, this is exciting too, folks. Christina Laurie will be here. She's the editor of Up North News, and she... Up North News makes Wisconsin fun. They put something out every day that is interesting. I don't know if it's a new way to look at the news or just a more fun way to look at the news, but it informs, and it's just, it's enriching. It's fun to read about our state. And we're going to ask Christina about the best brats in Wisconsin, the best old fashions. We'll do kind of a summer theme. And she also did something recently about the 6 best beaches that are like ocean beaches here in Wisconsin. So we'll talk to Christina at 7:20. And that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go any further, though, it would be horrible if I didn't inform you about our Civic Media Scotty Summer Text to Win contest. I know most of you probably listen to Civic Media throughout the day. I don't know where of this, but just in case you didn't know, you need the Civic Media app to play. I'm sure most of you already have that anyway. And it's so simple. At 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., or 4 p.m., just text in the keyword at those 4 times, and you are entered to win hourly prizes, which consist of $100 cash and Milwaukee Brewers club-level seats. You cannot beat that. All you have to do is text in on the app a keyword. It's so simple. And by doing so, you're automatically entered into our grand prize round, which involves 2 summer trips, one to Door County and one to Baraboo, 2 beautiful spots in our state. And we're even throwing in gas money. Conrad, should we pump the gas for people, or should we just give them the money and let them do it themselves?
We're already giving them the money, so.
That'd be too needy, right?
Yeah, they can get out of the car.
They can get their own gas, damn it. You know what? To heck with it. We're not even doing the contest. Of course we're doing the contest. Outstanding prizes, folks. Be part of the Scotty Summer Text to Win contest here at Civic Media. It is so much fun, and you have until this Friday, June 13th. So you have 2 more days, really, Thursday and Friday. Once again, 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., texting the keyword on the app, and you can win $100, Brewer tickets, and a chance at our grand prizes, a trip to Door County or Baraboo, and gas money. So you cannot beat that. That's another fun contest we're doing here at Civic Media. I think we need to get to our question of the night. What do you think?
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Hey, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda.
Question. Questions.
Well, Conrad's birthday is in the rear view, folks, but that doesn't mean it didn't get me thinking. What age were you when you had your best year? What was your best year? Very simple. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. I thought about this quite a bit today. And I think my 30th year, excluding before my kids were in my life, my 30th year was my best year. I had a lot of fun stuff going on that year. Turning 30, I wasn't looking forward to it as a 20-something, but it turned out I had a great birthday in Marinette. I lived in Chicago at the time, but my wife and I road tripped home. We had been married for about a year. We moved to L.A. that summer. I got cast in a show with Jim Gaffigan, and it was just a time of change and adventure. So I will say my 30th year was my best year, and I was surprised that was my year too, because I'm in no hurry to get older. 16 to get your driver's license. When I was 12, we moved to Wisconsin. That was an adventure too. I came here reluctantly as a 12-year-old, but ended up really enjoying it, having a blast. And now I call it my home as well. The big 4-0, I don't even remember what I did on my 40th birthday. 21 was a good birthday too. I went to DePaul University, and a bunch of my friends threw me a surprise party at a bar that I started the migration to, that I had been going to for a year. The owner of the bar said, "Wait a minute, you're turning 21 today?" And he realized he had been serving me for a year when I was underage, but a cool guy. And that was fun too. But I'm going to say 30. Conrad, what about you?
You think I would say 21, but when I turned 21, it was like right in the middle of COVID.
Oh, that's right.
So, I mean, it was still a fun night. I mean, I went to like a local bar back in Kewaskum with my parents. Because out of my friends, I was the first one that would turn 21, so they couldn't even drink with me.
So you went out with your parents.
I ended up,
Wow.
I don't even know how many shots I took there, but the locals just kept buying me shots because I was 21.
You did shots in front of your parents?
They bought shots for me too.
Holy smokes.
I had a lot of shots that night, but at the end of it, it was like a party in my basement pretty much.
Okay.
But it wouldn't have been as cool. I was Milwaukee at the time, so like,
yeah, that's memorable.
I wish I could have spent my 21st in Milwaukee. I think that would have been more fun, but it still was a fun time.
They would have bought you less shots. People in Kewaskum probably knew you, knew your parents. They probably emptied their pockets to get you drunk.
They bought me a lot of shots. But I would probably say it was kind of cool having like a golden birthday where I can still remember kind of. My golden birthday was when I was 10.
When you were 10, yeah, okay.
So I still kind of remember. It was, it was cool, like just thinking about it, I guess.
Yeah, that's memorable during COVID.
Yeah.
You're hanging out with your folks. You got good parents. And all right, so there you go. Conrad's 21st with his golden birthday, a close runner-up. And me, I'm going to say my 30th. I just had a lot of fun stuff happening in my career and in my personal life, so I'll say 30. What do you say? Listeners, we need your help. What age were you when you had your best year? That is what we're talking about here. That is our question of the night. And we will read your texts after, we'll get to that after the break, I think. I'm very excited to talk to Bob Bremerton. This guy working hard to hustle Sydney Sweeney products. He's going to be here at 6:35. This is going to be an absolute blast, folks. I do want to say, for weeks, I've had this on the sheet, this runpee.com. This is a website and I think an app that tells you when you should go pee during certain movies. And I meant to use it when I went to see Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, but I didn't. So now, do you remember that? I gave you homework. I asked you to look into that. Did you?
So I reached out to them. They didn't have like a direct email or something that they had on their website.
Yeah.
So I went to their Facebook and they read it and ignored me.
Really?
Yep.
They don't want to. Do they know we have access to millions of people here at Nightlight with Pete Schwaba?
Trust me,
they're all listening at the same time.
I said it.
Okay.
I said,
You know what? Forget I even mentioned that. We're not going to promote them if they don't want to come on Nightlight and talk about their stupid run pee. It's a website that tells you when to pee. We don't need to promote that. Forget it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's have that expunged from the record. All right, fun stuff happening here. We're going to read your text when we come back, folks, and I'm going to tell you something funny. This is Pete Schwaba Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We are the same, whatever we do. You love me, you hate me, you know me, and then you can figure out the bag I'm in. I am every day
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Remembering Vietnam, brought to you by The Dispensary.
We dug holes, little foxholes, to jump into and take cover when you heard them coming. But after a few weeks, you didn't worry about it anymore. What was the point? They weren't aiming at you. They just fired the damn things. So if you were going to get hit, you were really going to get hit. That was my attitude, which I realize now was really stupid. But that's just the way it was. I don't know why I did it, but instead of jumping into a hole, I walked around with my camera, hoping to get a great picture. When sappers got into the perimeter, they would have explosive charges and satchel charges on them. A few were suicide attacks with everything strapped to their bodies. They tried to kill as many guys as they could. It seemed like that was their main mission. Mike Brzezinski, United States Army, Vietnam.
Hear this full story at WGBW.FM. Click on Remembering Vietnam. Brought to you by The Dispensary. Online at thed8dispensary.com.
Feeling better is about feeling all kinds of things. You want to feel healthy, sure, but you also want to feel heard and understood, valued, even, well, loved. That's what we want too. We're Amplify Health, and we think the best way to care for someone is to care about them. That's why all our treatments include a little empathy. Welcome to healthcare that's all about caring. Welcome to Amplify Health by Bellin. A little empathy changes everything.
Summer, summer, summer.
It's our Scotty Summer statewide text to win contest on your local Civic Media radio station. For a complete list of contest rules, log on civicmedia.us/contest-terms.
I love the colorful clothes you wear and the way the sunlight plays upon her hair. I hear the sound of a gentle.
That is the voice and the music of Brian Wilson, who passed away. I think we were just made aware of it today, but I think it happened yesterday. His family made an announcement today. The founder of the Beach Boys, one of the founders, with his brother Dennis and Carl and their cousin Mike Love, were the Beach Boys. And it's funny, I don't know how the rest of you feel. I remember hearing nothing but the Beatles when I was a kid and how they were the greatest ever. And the Beach Boys were like sort of their more, not sterile, but less respected cousin. But I think that changed because I remember by the time I got to college, everybody I knew in that world, in the entertainment world, was calling Brian Wilson a genius and talking about how Pet Sounds was the greatest album ever made. And just such a great, and even in his later years, he wrote the song Love and Mercy, and just an absolute brilliant musician who wrote, I mean, Good Vibrations, In My Room, I Get Around, Sloop John B., all these fantastic songs. Gone at 82. I know he had some mental health issues and maybe some other physical issues. And I know there was a lawsuit about someone who was kind of helping him through his life and had a little too much control. But Brian Wilson's legacy, you know, the stuff some of these artists leave behind is incredible. Say what you want about their personal lives, and I don't know anything about Brian Wilson's personal life. I'm not singling him out, but man, oh man, the legacy they leave behind, the joy they have brought to people's lives through their artistry. And especially a guy like Brian Williams. We'll be playing Beach Boys song a lot throughout the course of the show during the bumpers when we come back from breaks. It's just soul enriching. It's great stuff. And it reminds you, it's just the sound of summer. And I remember when I first moved to LA, being at the beach and going, oh my gosh, the Beach Boys. Even though I don't even know how much time they spent at the actual beach. But I'm a huge fan. Absolutely love Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. You know what's weird, though? Conrad, I will say this. When someone who was not the main part of the band is still touring as the band, I'm trying to think. I think it was the Spinners. There was like one vocal artist who was background who was touring as the Spinners still. And he's got a good voice, but he didn't really have much creatively or creative control over the Spinners. And I think that's kind of how it is. Mike Love was at least the singer of the Beach Boys, or one of the main singers. But he kind of took the band on tour too. Anyway, all right. Rest in peace, Brian Wilson. Our question of the night is, what was your best year? You could say favorite birthday, best year. What birthday launched your best year? I say 30. Conrad said 21. Let's read some social media text, shall we? Mike on social media says the best is yet to come. That's a good attitude, Mike. I think Mike's in his 60s. Yeah, you don't want it to be downhill. You still want to love getting up every morning. My pal Vince Morato, comedian, Chicago-based comedian. He's been on the show. He says, let's see, I was born in 1957, so 1956. Well done, Vince. Layman Rob on social media says when he turned 40 in 1997. Okay. Thank you, Rob. Layman, I mean. It's got to be Rob Layman, right?
I mean, Layman's a cool first name.
I think it's really cool. We know a Layman that's a last name. You can rock it either way, I suppose. James Schenkenberg says, when I was 16, 1990. Thank you, James. Glad it was a good year. I hope you have many more years ahead of you. Monica Hale says, 21. I'm 58 now. It's all downhill from there, man. No, it's not, Monica. She says 46 comes in second. Okay. Reached my goal weight and finally got my BA clearly as a non-traditional student. Well, that's pretty cool. My Aunt Rosie, who sometimes listens to this show, my mom's sister, is like 86 now, I think, maybe 87. She became a doctor of religious studies, I believe. I think I'm getting that right. When she was like 80. So I love that people still want to achieve things in life. And it's important to do, too. You got to have a reason to get up every morning, right? So here's to those with positive attitudes. Let's go to the text line. We've got, I'm so excited to have Bob Bremerton on the show. I can barely control myself. The text line, we got Tyler in Wisconsin Rapids says, I am waiting on the Sydney Sweeney fart bubble in a bottle extract perfume. Once that is released, will be my best year. Well done, Tyler. It's only a matter of time, too, buddy. Mark from Prairie du Sac says, I got mono and strep throat for my golden birthday back in 1974. Was not pleasant. Slept 20-plus hours a day for a week. Didn't even have any fun getting the mono. Okay, but Mark, what was your best birthday? What was your best year, not your worst year? That does sound like a terrible start to 1974. But I appreciate the text. There was something I wanted to read. Sean Hanish posted something, the director of Just a Bit Outside. I have to find that on Twitter because he had a great post. And we'll read that too. That's coming up. So what else, Conrad? What else we got? We got, did you get the donuts thing?
I did.
All right. So here's the lineup, folks. Bob Bremerton is going to be here after the news. He is a Sydney Sweeney Products LLC. He's going to talk about some other products we can look forward to from Miss Sweeney. And I've got a few products of my own I'm going to pitch to him. Maybe I'll pitch Tyler's. And then our pal Rich Tallarico, who wrote for Key and Peele and Saturday Night Live and Mad TV, will be here at about 6:40, about 6:50. Rich has a new project we're going to talk about. He's always fun to have on the show. And then Christina Laurie, we're going to talk about summertime food here in Wisconsin. She does it all at Up North News, and she's listed the best brat, according to Food Network, the best old-fashioned, and the best donut. I know we talked about donuts last week, but we can always talk about donuts. And she will be here at 7:20 tonight. So a fun show. Let us know what your best year was, folks. We are on the heels of Conrad's birthday, and I want to know what your best year was or your favorite birthday. All right, we're going to do all that. The news is up next. We're coming right back. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
She's somehow closer now.
I'm Hartman here. You're listening to 97.9 WGBW.
This is your local civic media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Protesters in Milwaukee marched on the city's ICE office last night amidst ongoing protests in LA. Civic Media's Max Martinson reports.
Hundreds of protesters gathered in downtown Milwaukee Tuesday evening. That's the sound that could be heard throughout the streets as anti-ICE protesters marched from Cathedral Square Park to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration offices located on the Lower East Side of Milwaukee. The protest and march were organized by the Party for Socialism and Liberation of Milwaukee. Multiple speakers from PSL Milwaukee made their voices heard on multiple issues, including condemning President Donald Trump for deploying the National Guard during the recent protests in Los Angeles.
We can't let Trump get away with using the National Guard and the militarized cops to suppress protests in Los Angeles and across the country.
PSL Milwaukee speakers are also calling for more people who support their mission to join in their fight.
Let me be clear. The time for neutrality has long passed. Amen. Silence is complicity.
The march throughout the city continued until 8 p.m. when protesters returned to Cathedral Square Park.
Show me what Milwaukee looks like. This is what Milwaukee looks like.
The protest was peaceful and no police were actively present. For Civic Media News, I'm Max Martinson.
This is a story we've been following from the beginning. Juan Carlos Rocamieja was convicted of first-degree sexual assault of a child in Fond du Lac County Circuit Court on Tuesday after he pleaded no contest. Elia Antonio, the mother of the victim, was previously convicted of human trafficking of a child for giving Rocamieja access to her daughter for $250. Both will be sentenced on August 21st. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. God has apparently taken a break from helping athletes win games and is focused on Hollywood. According to the Crazy Town Tribune, comedian actress Roseanne Barr is claiming God is the one who told her to send a racist tweet in 2018 that ended up getting her fired from The Conners, which was a reboot of her previous show, Roseanne. Barr says God, by telling her to tweet, helped her wake up, enabling her to be fired from The Conners because she was having nightmares about the show. So God wanted her to send a racist tweet. God still apparently made The Conners quite successful without her, which is odd. If you're like me, you're wondering what exactly is God's angle here, as the Supreme Being remained pretty hands-off when it came to other sitcoms like Seinfeld or Modern Family. Barr also admitted to being on a mixture of Ambien and alcohol on the night of the tweet, which probably made it a little harder for God to wake her. Folks, apologies are out, and nowadays it's about the double down, and this is one of the most convoluted I've ever seen. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Occasional clouds for tonight and tomorrow. A slight chance of a sprinkle or shower. Lows of 50 to 55 and highs of 70 to 75. Some smoke also around. More rain possible Thursday night and Friday. Highs only 60 to 65. Right now it's 78 degrees.
Carmelo Anthony for the Bail Project.
Bad news, you've been arrested. Good news, you're innocent until proven guilty. If you can pay your bail, good news, you go home to wait your trial. If you can't, sorry, you go to jail to wait. But sure, you still presumed innocent. But since you can't afford bail, you've lost your freedom. That's not right. And that's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Dr. Kristen Lyerly.
Mayor of Sheboygan, Ryan Sorensen.
If you want strong communities, you need to have strong quality childcare accessibility in your community. You know, whether you have kiddos or not, it impacts you whether directly or indirectly. And that's why, being supportive of programs from the state level that can support local agencies is vitally, vitally important. So it's all intertwined.
This is not just for parents of small children.
This is mission critical.
The Dr. Kristen Lyerly Show, Saturday and Sunday afternoons at 3 on WGBW and WISS and the Civic Media app. Maggie Dawn.
At 4 o'clock, the Wisconsin Policy Forum drops a bomb.
Brown around, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round.
Welcome back, folks. Pete Schwaba and Nightlight. Great to have you with me on this Wednesday night where there is no parking in downtown Green Bay. That's always fun. Seriously though, what a terrible week for music. We lost like I had anything to do with it or knew the guy. I didn't. Sly Stone, Sylvester Stewart, founder of Sly and the Family Stone, passed away, and now Brian Wilson. Just terrible. Our question of the night is, what was your best year? Conrad's birthday was yesterday. Sounds like he kind of took it easy on himself. But what age were you when you had your best year? I said 30. I had just moved to L.A. I got cast in a pilot with Jim Gaffigan, and I had a great birthday celebration in Marinette, Wisconsin before my wife and I moved out west. It was just new adventure and fun and just a blast. My 30th year, which when people tell you that at 17, 30 sounds like 50. So I was blown away that I had so much fun as a 30-year-old, and now I'm 92, so it's all downhill. But let us know when your favorite year was. Conrad says 21. He got wasted with his parents. The whole town bought him shots in Kewaskum, Wisconsin during COVID. So that's memorable, too. Let us know what yours was, though. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC, or text us on the app. Or if you're watching, text us on the stream at Facebook, YouTube, and X Twitter, or Twix. This is exciting, folks. Tonight, Christina Laurie is on the show in hour number 2. Comedian, sketch writer extraordinaire, and phenomenal actor Rich Tallarico will be joining us in about 15 minutes. Right now, though, with all the craziness going on around Sydney Sweeney's bathwater. That's right. If you haven't heard, we've talked about it excessively on this show, but they've added her bathwater to a soap that they're selling, and Conrad says it's $1,000 a bar right now. It's a little overpriced. So much for President Trump taking care of inflation. But we've got from Sydney Sweeney Products, LLC, joining us now over the stream. This guy's taking time out of his busy schedule to tell us about some other products, too, and what he's got going on over there at their LLC. Mr. Bob Bremerton joins us on the screen now. Bob, how are you?
Peter, thank you for having us because we've had a heck of a time getting media attention, and all we've heard is backlash. So thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
How do you feel about the fact that people that are buying Sydney Sweeney soap with her bathwater in it, most of them are probably men. They're willing to pay top dollar, and a lot of them probably aren't using it to clean themselves. How do you feel about that, Bob?
Well, look, this is for anybody. This product is for anybody, and whatever you do with our products is completely up to you. We're not supervising the use of these products, and we want people to have fun with them. No holds barred.
Well, okay, fair enough. Have you tried the products, Bob? Like, do you have like a quality control there at Sweeney LLC?
I am allowed to watch. I'm allowed to watch the extraction process. But it's a little out of my price range. I put all my money into the company, and I cannot afford to buy our products. But I do want to talk. I have a few less expensive products. You did quote the price of the bar, so we have some more affordable products. Flag Day is coming up. I know a lot of people are going to be giving their Flag Day gifts, so we have some things that people might be interested in.
Oh, I'd love to hear about a few if you don't mind.
Well, of course. Well, again, the bath soap, very expensive, but much more affordable is our hand wash runoff. Okay.
Hand wash runoff, the water that comes off your hands after you wash. Sure.
We capture that when Sydney washes her hands. And we actually sell this as a beverage because we found there were so many wonderful flavors and varieties based on what she was, in fact, washing off her hands.
Which would be what? Any idea what, like, how I can't imagine. She's a big famous star, Bob. I can't imagine her hands get that dirty.
Well, she does shake fans' hands. She does open doors like all of us. There could be COVID in the hand wash runoff beverage. You just don't know. It's a potpourri.
Oh, nice. What does that go for, Bob? What does the hand wash runoff
Well, now,
go for?
the soap is $1,000 a bar. This is $800 for
Oh,
a
that's pretty
bottle of
good.
our hand wash runoff beverage. But you don't have to drink it all at once. You can kind of sip and hang. You can nurse it.
I would imagine you could add that to other beverages too, like make some type of cocktail out of it.
It's a great mixer. And as I said, Flag Day's coming up. There's going to be big Flag Day parties. So
Yeah.
this is the perfect beverage for summer, really.
I love it. All right, that sounds like a great one. Conrad, you got $800? You could probably get on a payment plan, I would assume.
I'm hoping.
COD only. COD
Oh,
only.
really? Okay. So you can't. I appreciate that, Bob, that you're not making us set up an account or give us all your information.
We do not want a paper trail.
Yeah. What else you got there, Bob?
Well, look, of course, we've got the eye drops. Now, these are made from Sydney's actual tears. And the way we made this was we had to show her Schindler's List 100 times to get the tears that we needed. But she's so shallow, the only reason she was crying was because the movie was in black and white. But we do have that on the market. We have our very, very in demand. We're working on these right now. Our earwax candles, and these come from her actual earwax. And due to how tone deaf Sydney has been, we suspected she had a lot of wax in her ears. They do not disappoint. These are all natural wax. The wicks are made from Sydney's dandruff, woven together in a sweatshop. And they only come in one fragrance because no matter what we did to the earwax candles, they always smelled like one thing.
Wait a minute. Sydney Sweeney has dandruff with all those access to all those products and Hollywood hair people?
Yes, well, it's extracted. It's and it's a benefit to her too because it's kind of like how monkeys clean each other. She appreciates us picking off her dandruff. And yes, these candles smell like burnt raisin. If anyone was wondering, so if that's the scent you're trying to put in your home, then this could be for you.
That's interesting, and it's disappointing that she had to watch Schindler's List so many times just to get some tears going. Is she? You don't want to badmouth her. I'm sure you have a business relationship with her, but is she heartless or what's going on there?
Look, she's just shallow, and a lot of people are today. So she's really the norm, and she's shallow, and she really only cared about the fact that the movie was in black and white. That's what upset her, and that's how we got the tears.
I'm not going to buy the tears.
We have a room spray that's made from her actual breath.
Oh,
that's right.
Is it like
use it in the car? You can use it to freshen up your suitcase if you want your suitcase to smell like chicken soup and Marlboros.
Chicken soup and Marlboros. Does she floss? I want to ask that because I don't know.
I'm so glad you mentioned floss, Peter, because we have floss made from her hair.
Oh,
now,
wow, that's interesting.
A beautiful woman. She's got very good genes, and her hair is extremely strong. And we actually have one dentist approval. The 4 out of 5 dentists. Well, the one that always sat the other vote out, he voted for us on the floss. So we have 1 out of 5 dentists recommend Sydney's hair floss. They come in different lengths depending on what part of the body the hair was taken from.
That's horrible. Wait, can you? I would think you'd have no trouble getting the other 4 dentists to approve. Can't you slip them a bar of the Sweeney soap or something and get them on board?
Look, these guys have had a sterling reputation for years of only backing Trident gums. So we found the outlier. We said, who's that 1 out of 5 that won't? He's a real pervert. So it's wonderful.
My guest is Bob Bremerton. He works for Sweeney Products LLC, and he is giving us a rundown of some of the products that are available to the public that don't cost $1,000, like her bar of soap does. That was put out by Dr. Squatch. I love how you guys swooped in to get the other products though from her bodily whatever. That was pretty shrewd business there, Bob.
Well, because look, who can afford $1,000 for a bar of soap? Not in this economy. And look, stocking stuffers. Do you have a musician in your family? We've got actual guitar picks made from her scabs.
Oh wow! I thought you were going to go toenails there, but you went a little deeper there.
Her lower body is covered in scabs. I don't know the medical reason why, but we've been drying them in the sun, and they are perfect. We're reaching out to Keith Richards to see if he will endorse.
Oh, that'd be a heck of an endorsement. Yeah, no question about that. So that's great. So how much does a scab guitar pick go for?
They're still going to be $300 each, because this is the actual physical matter of Sydney, and we know it's in demand. But that's one of our lower products. That's one of our lower. And
it's what I like about it, Bob, is it's Sydney in pain. It's another side of her. It's not just this whimsical, beautiful Sydney Sweeney. There's some turmoil there. So I think that's great. What else you got? I'd love to pitch you a few too, but I want to get through yours too.
Well, I got a couple more, and I'd love to hear yours. You tell me how much time we got. I'd be very happy to.
Well, we've got about 4 minutes, Conrad. How are we doing on time? 3 or 4 minutes? Okay, yeah. Why don't you keep going, Bob?
I'll run through a couple, and I'd love to hear your pitches, because we've also got. Do you remember that campaign, Got Milk? Well, we've got her hooked up to a milker.
Oh no,
24/7.
Oh dear.
It's exhausting for her. We do have some complaints from the FDA and PETA, who are coming after us. So
PETA?
that's going to be a hot product, because we're using an actual cow milking machine. But look, if that's too gross, what about upcycled facial masks? It's like a tea bag. You can get a second use.
Oh, no kidding. I love that.
Yes.
That's
this
fantastic.
is good for the environment too.
See, she does care.
Of course. And these products are extremely limited. They're all natural. They come completely from her. And there will be no tariffs on these products, because she is from the United States.
Oh, I love that. Oh, you guys have thought all of this through. That is just outstanding. So, all right. Are you okay? I know you probably get people all the time coming up to you, Bob, saying, "Hey, I got a Sydney Sweeney product." I don't want to be that guy. Conrad and I put our heads together. We've given this some thought. We just have a couple minutes, so if it's okay with you, I'll run these by you.
Please, let's hear it.
How about a toe jam hacky sack? Have you thought about something like that?
Mm-hmm. And maybe the skin of the sack needs to be maybe elbow skin, that very tough skin on your elbow. You can kind of drive a nail through it. You don't feel anything. I think that'd be a great way to kind of house the hacky.
I think too. It's nice that there's libations coming out of this. How about belly button sweat julep?
Especially now, the belly button is one of the sweatier areas on a person.
Right. But it's Sydney Sweeney sweat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think so. I think that's a go.
Okay. Oh, really? Nice. Did we trademark that, Conrad? Make sure you get that. Sydney Sweeney loogie flavored Irish coffee creamer.
Yes. I think this is fantastic, because the fun of putting creamer in the coffee is watching it go through the coffee, watching it swirl around. With a loogie, it's going to be more viscous. There's going to be it's like swallowing the worm with tequila at the end. You're going to get that salty loogie at the end, and that's the real treat. That's going to be one of our higher priced.
And these might be kind of long shots, Bob, but we got to run soon, because we have another guest coming on. But Sydney Sweeney vegetarian snot dogs is one. And then how about fudge brownie bites? I won't tell you where those come from. Okay, Bob Bremerton, thank you very much for your time. Good luck. Sell, buddy. We'll talk to you again soon, I hope. This is Beach Schwaba Nightlight. We're coming right back with Rich Tallarico on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Cause it's never been beat, and we've never missed yet with the girls we meet.
As Wisconsin is saying the word bag instead of bag. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Insight Eye Care has been serving the Fox Valley for over 30 years and are proud sponsors of Mino and the Mayor's Eye on the Community. Insight offers comprehensive eye care, including glasses and contact lenses. Their doctors have a special interest in treating chronic eye disease, specialty contact lenses, and pediatric care. Find Insight on Sawyer Street in Oshkosh and Chain Drive in Appleton. Visit WIinsight.com to schedule your eye exam. Improving lives by improving sight. Insight Eye Care.
The 6th annual Juneteenth celebration is finally here. Hey, it's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you, brought to you by Area 509 in Appleton. And at Joanne's Park this Saturday at noon, celebrate Juneteenth with We All Rise African American Resource Center and Black Lives United Green Bay. Remember, Juneteenth is not just about history, it's about what comes next. There's going to be a parade, vendors, and you can still volunteer now. Head to WGBW.FM and click events to find out more.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government buy-in for the people. We're following up on a story from last summer when Georgia's State Elections Board voted to allow county election board members to conduct their own investigations before certifying an election, potentially throwing the elections into chaos. The state Supreme Court threw out that and other fringe rules on June 10th. The Georgia Elections Board approved partisan, conspiracy-driven rules just 90 days before the 2024 election, including allowing individual members of county election boards to conduct their own reasonable inquiry before certifying an election. Another rule approved in September required a hand count of paper ballots into stacks of 50 to compare with the machine count total. Pro-voter groups challenged the rules, and last October, a district court judge ruled they were enacted too close to the election and were too disruptive. The Republican National Committee and the Georgia GOP appealed for an emergency order, which was declined until after the election. In a victory for voters, the Georgia Supreme Court found June 10th that most of the election board's new rules were not enabled by state statute. The court allowed surveillance cameras at drop boxes, but struck down most others, including reasonable inquiry investigations, post-election document examination, hand counting, and IDs for family members dropping off mail ballots. 2 other rules were sent back to lower courts. We have the 96-page order at AmericanDemocracyMinute.org. I'm Brian Beal.
Mino and the Mayor.
DeLorean Walls in the house.
Y'all have been such a powerful platform for so many, including myself, that's bringing so much awareness. And just because the last couple of times I've been on the show, so many people have been asking, how can we help serve? And if we can get that normal, our community is going to flourish even further.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday mornings 6 till 9 on 97.9 WGBW and 98.3 and 96.5 WISS and the Civic.
Hey, this is John Grise, also Uncle Rico, and you're listening to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
We come on this loop, John B., my grandfather and me, around Nassau town we did roam.
Welcome back.
Drinking all night.
You cannot. I don't know if I've ever met someone who didn't like the Beach Boys. So, Brian Wilson, I have all their albums. I cannot thank him enough for his contributions to mankind. Great stuff. Our question of the night is, what was your favorite year? On the heels of Conrad's birthday, let us know. Text us, stream us, app us, however you could do it. Christina Laurie is coming up at 7:20. We're going to talk about some of our favorite Wisconsin summer foods. She puts all these lists together on Up North News. So much fun. And she gets a lot of info about Wisconsin food from the Food Network. The Food Network has favorite Wisconsin products, too. We'll talk to Christina about that at 7:20. Right now, it is my pleasure to welcome back to Nightlight one of our frequent flyers here. He's become a good pal, and it's always fun to have him on the show. He has written for Key and Peele, SNL. And while he was at Key and Peele, by the way, Conrad, I don't know if you knew this, he wrote the Substitute Teacher sketch.
Oh, that's
Have you heard that?
That's a great sketch.
Great sketch. And he's written for Mad TV and SNL and Jay Leno, and he's got all kinds of amazing writing credits. The very funny Mr. Rich Tallarico. Hey, buddy, how are you?
All right, Pete. Conrad, thanks for having me.
Wait, your house? Are you hanging with Bremerton tonight?
I'm at the Bremerton place. This is one of his the ladies that he dates lives here. He doesn't live here.
Oh, okay. I imagine that. He's a mover and a shaker. You're in good company, buddy. But, Rich, how are you?
I'm great, Pete. How you doing?
Pretty good. So you told me the other day when we talked that you're chilling in central or near Niagara Falls, right?
Yes, I can see the mist from here. I'm very close to Niagara Falls, and I'm here for a few months. I'm producing a project based on a script of mine about the first person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. a lady named Annie Edson Taylor.
Oh my gosh. Okay, is she the same person you sent me this? All right, I got confused. I thought that's outstanding. That thing like writes itself, I would imagine.
It really did. I went to sleep and elves came into the room and wrote it when I was sleeping.
All right, I love this. And she was not a spring chicken when this happened, right? Tell us all about Annie Edson Taylor, please.
No, she was a fall turkey at that point. She was a 63-year-old charm school teacher, Victorian, proper, taught young women how to acquire husbands through grace lessons, through manners. And she did well. And she taught around the country, kind of had some, crisscrossing the U.S., teaching her classes. And she settled in Bay City, Michigan in the late 1800s and opened a charm school. But the problem was it failed because a lot of young women, as this century was turning to the 20th century, were interested in becoming suffragettes, were interested in finding a voice. They didn't care about wearing corsets and, acquiring husbands through grace classes. So she really hit the skids and was about to kill herself when she got a realization that she could reverse her fortunes if she became a daredevil. So the script is called The Widow Daredevil, and it's about how she does complete this stunt. Her manager, and this is based on a true story, steals her barrel and goes on a speaking tour without her. And then 10 years later, a man does the stunt and goes over the falls in a barrel and gets all the credit and accolades and world fame that she never did.
Okay, that makes sense now, because when you said that, I could swear, I didn't want to sound stupid. I was like, wait a minute, I thought a guy did that. So how did you find this story, Rich? Is it because you're from that area, or do you have a connection to the estate or something?
No. I remembered Annie because when I was younger, I grew up near Utica, New York, in a little town called Frankfort, if anyone is familiar. And, we would come to Niagara Falls for school trips, and, my family took us here, and there were always displays about Annie and this little lady and her barrel that she basically reinforced and welded and did all the design. And, she built straps in it for her to hold on to. And I mean, you think about like a race car driver, they're going hundreds of miles an hour and they have all this protection. All she had was like a little heart-shaped pillow that she kind of held in place on her head.
Gosh.
And then they closed the barrel, and the wall of the ceiling of the barrel held that, heart-shaped pillow on her head. And she went over the falls. And a lot of people tried it after her. There was a guy who went over, and when they found the barrel, all that was in there was his arm. So she was, very smart. She knew how to do it, and she worked hard to, complete the stunt. And she famously said, "I'd rather be dead than have no money."
Every once in a while, I love running across characters like this. As they get older, and it kind of plays into our theme tonight. Like Teddy Roosevelt resigned as the Undersecretary of the Navy and led a charge up a hill because he didn't want to send guys into battle. Annie Edson Taylor was broke, and she turns into a daredevil. Like, where are these people in modern day society, Rich? You don't see people like this anymore.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know where they are. I guess we'll have to inspire some with our project.
Yeah.
But, the story beyond that, it did end in kind of a sad way because she never really got her due, and she lost her eyesight eventually, and she moved to the falls, and she would sell these pamphlets with her life story in them. And that's how she kind of lived out her days. So for the film version, I was thinking, well, I want to find what's the positive ending here, And I thought, well, she taught for many generations. She taught a lot of young women. They had to have been watching her. They had to have been inspired by her courage. And the subtitle of the movie is Barrels of Courage. And I thought, well, maybe there's a young woman that, that helped the suffragettes get the right to vote. And maybe it was inspired by Annie. So I kind of created another character, which is fictitious, but she does stay with Annie through all of her adventures because Annie hired detectives to try to find the barrel. So that's in the story. And then I also have some scenes where she's, crossing paths with people like Tesla and, people from the temperance movement.
Very
Carrie A Nation. There's a scene with her and Carrie A Nation, which is fictitious.
Rich, let's pick it up. Let's pick it up right here after the news, okay? We're coming right back. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight with Rich Tallarico.
Let me go home.
Just gonna open the mic so.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Okay.
Rich.
Yes.
Hey, sorry. I just want to let you know, too, we have such hard outs because the computer just takes over. So I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh,
We
that's
can pick
okay.
up.
I gotta
we can
remember.
pick up.
I gotta remember
No,
to be
you're-
more concise.
No, you're totally fine. We'll pick up there when we come back. Hey, do you mind doing a quick tag for us? Just this is Rich Tallarico, and you're listening to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Yes.
Outstanding. Whenever you're ready. But
He should-
wait.
What about pronouncing the name wrong, like the substitute teacher?
Yeah, but how would he say
Like the Schwaba thing or something? I don't know.
Schwaba? Yeah. Well, if we think of something great, but maybe
Yeah.
we could do that next time too. That's
Okay.
a great idea, though. But yeah, if you don't mind giving us a tag, we'd love it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ready, Con?
This is Rich Tellerico. You're listening to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Awesome. I'll try to think of a funny with Petty. Pete. P-E-T-E. I don't know. Why do you do that?
Pete.
Pete. With Pete Schwaba. I don't know. Is
Well,
that funny,
Schwaba,
Rich?
You'd have to mess up Schwaba pretty good.
Pete.
Pete.
Schwabler.
No.
Pete Schwabler.
Pete Schwab A. I don't know. We'll think of something.
We'll workshop.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it. We're
Yeah,
coming right back, buddy. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Previous year's record of $25 billion. This year's tourism hat trick includes a record-breaking amount of state and local revenue, a record-breaking 114.4 million visitors, and a record-high economic impact for tourism. The industry grew 2.2% from last year, supporting 182,000 part-time and full-time jobs across sectors in 2024.
The numbers were also high in northeast Wisconsin, where Discover Green Bay officials say over 6.5 million people visited Brown County last year, spending $850 million. The Fox Cities Convention and Visitors Bureau said visitors to the Fox Valley spent more than $600 million. Discover Oshkosh reports $574 million impact from tourism in Winnebago County, and Door County saw an increase of $31.4 million in total tourism-related economic activity. Travel and Leisure magazine called out 3 of the over 15,000 lakes in Wisconsin as being among the best lake vacation spots in the nation. Lake Superior in Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin is number 1 on that list. Lake Winnebago in northeast Wisconsin made the list at number 8. And Lake Michigan on the borders of Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois comes in at number 12. Wisconsin is the only state that made the top 25 lakes 3 times. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Brewers fall to the Braves. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers lost to the Braves today, 6-2. Milwaukee right-hander Chad Patrick struggled on the mound, giving up the first 5 runs. Manager Pat Murphy.
You know, he's been so great for us. He's a rookie. He's never faced being in that spot, so maybe that's going to be a good learning experience for him. We still have full confidence. He still got through 5.
So the Braves leave town winning the series 2-1. The Brewers beginning a 4-game home series tomorrow night against the St. Louis Cardinals. NBA Finals, the Pacers, led by Oshkosh native Therese Halliburton, hosting the Thunder tonight. That series tied 1 game apiece. NFL at the Packers minicamp. Wide receiver Bo Melton asked what his brother, Max Bolton, a defensive back for the Cardinals, had to say when he learned that he was trying out at defensive back.
Yeah, so when he seen it, he called me like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, just because, I've been playing wide out. It's just something that, came up. I'm going to, give it a shot.
That's the Packers' Bo Melton with sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Occasional clouds for tonight and tomorrow. A slight chance of a sprinkle or shower. Lows of 50 to 55 and highs of 70 to 75. Some smoke also around. More rain possible Thursday night and Friday. Highs only 60 to 65. Right now it's 76.
Mino and the Mayor.
We're live from Oshkosh on Thursday, and we'll chat with Kate Stell and Bill Wyman from the Oshkosh Community Foundation. And Mike Dempsey gives us the details on the first Waterfest of the season. Join us.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday morning, 6 till 9. The Todd Albaugh Show.
State Senator Kelda Royce.
The vast majority of people on Medicaid are already working, and it is Medicaid that makes it possible for them to work. People who are disabled or have chronic illnesses and without that health care, they would be out of the workforce. They would have no ability to participate in the economy, and now they can. Medicaid is one of the greatest workforce programs this country has ever built, and they are trying to dismantle it, and with it, they're going to take people's lives and economic security.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
My name is DeMar Hamlin. I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as a national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers through CPR education and access to AEDs. Nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live life.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's alright.
And now, a guy who still likes to build a fort, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back to Night Light, folks. Intermission is over. We are kicking off Act 2 here. You are here on a great night. We've got great guests, a good question. Our question of the night, to reiterate, is what was your best year? Conrad is coming off his 26th birthday. I said my 30th year was the best year. I had a lot of fun when I was 30. Conrad was 21. We've got some great texts. We'll get to your texts soon, but please let us know and be part of the show. We talked to, in the first hour, Mr. Bob Bremerton, who was here on behalf of Sweeney Products LLC or LTD, something. And we learned about a whole host of products that are coming out right around the corner, more Sydney Sweeney products. And if you got money burning a hole in your pocket, spend a G and get a bar of soap with her bathwater in it. That's always fun, too. And all kinds of stuff. So you were here on a great night. We're kicking off hour number 2. My pal Rich Tallarico is here. We have roots in Chicago comedy. He has gone on to do amazing things on the Key and Peele Show, SNL, Mad TV. He has a. Let's talk about this, Rich, before we get back into your movie project, which is awesome. You have a sketch in the Smithsonian. Please tell us about that. That's so cool.
Thanks, Pete. Well, I brought in a sketch about a teacher that couldn't pronounce the kids' names based on my 8th grade teacher, a guy named Fred Chudy. And the thing was, Fred was, ready to retire, and he was our homeroom teacher. And we had a lot of exotic names in the class. We had a girl named Lori Babiars. We had a fella named Chester Dobrinsky. And we had a girl named Olga Plachotnik. So, Fred would read the names, and all he wanted to hear was here, So he would just look at the name Babiars, and he'd go, Babish. And poor Lori Babiars would raise her hand and go, here? I think you mean me. And he'd see Chester Dobrinsky, and he'd go, Dejinski.
like not even really trying?
Not even trying, like getting it so wrong. He'd see Olga Plachotnik and his, head would explode. But that was the inspiration for that. And there was some improvisation on the set with that one. I had a lot of fun, but I've ruined Aaron's, all the Aarons I know, and Jacqueline's. I've ruined their lives.
Jaqueline. Yeah.
Jaqueline. But we had a lot of fun at Key and Peele, and that was one that really surprised us, actually, how popular it became very quickly, and continues to be so. I mean, over 10 years since the show was on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say, you've written for Saturday Night Live, Mad TV. Key and Peele was like kind of groundbreaking, right? I mean, there hasn't been a sketch show on since that's come close, right?
Well, you may be right. I mean, I don't want to, take away from all the other great sketch shows that are out, like I Think You Should Leave and Black Lady Sketch Show. I mean, there's been some great ones since then. but it definitely struck a chord. I think its appearance on YouTube and its highly consumable, fashion made it very popular, especially during the lockdowns and stuff. People were home and were just kind of going crazy watching the show. But it was so popular on YouTube, people didn't even know we were a television show.
Oh my
People
gosh,
thought we were a YouTube show.
That's great.
But yeah, we're very, very happy about that.
Well, let's jump in. I want to talk about all your sketches, but we'll have to do that another time. I know we've hit on the substitute teacher one. You also wrote the Obama one, which is so funny.
Yes,
and,
Obama greeting people
was
differently based on their appearance. Yes.
This is beautiful. So, folks, I want to talk more about Rich's movie project, though, but definitely go to YouTube, check out the Obama sketch, the substitute teacher sketch, and any others you want to point out that they can search for, Rich.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, I wrote Racist Zombies, and there's a sketch that people seem to like about two guys at a crosswalk, and one guy's pressed the button and the other guy wants to press it and hasn't. $100,000 where it's a drug deal where they're trying to count out the money. I probably have 30 or 40 sketches that are mine from Key and Peele. So you can also look at my website, and there'll probably be some stuff there. Social media as well for me should have a lot of stuff for people to check out.
Great stuff. All right, so Rich Tallarico is here. He is an outstanding writer. Rich, how different was it? And I didn't realize this before when you sent the link. You have the whole script for your movie project on your website. Like, was that different? That must have been I assume you've probably written other screenplays, but how different was that than writing sketches?
Yes. Well, the truth is, I don't think you can get the whole script. You can get a couple of page doc that comes up, but we don't really put the whole script out there just for everybody to read. But, a narrative feature can be 2 hours long and can have 70 to 100 scenes in it. But, you have to just spend a lot of time outlining. It's the majority of the writing gets done when you're kind of just what we call breaking the story or outlining the story and figuring out, you put the biggest pieces in first, just like packing a trunk. You put the biggest suitcases going first, then all the little details. Sometimes you have to take it all back out and put it all back in when you have to repack the trunk when you realize we don't have room for everything, or we need to buy a bigger car or whatever. But there's a process to that. I also did that during the lockdown. That was my lockdown project. I just started to read just a few books about Annie, and there's not many out there about her, but just became captivated by the time period and just the cojones on this person who, and I'm also a teacher, so I have a soft spot for her because she's a teacher. Substitute Teacher is a sketch that I wrote, of course, and also Teaching Center. That's another one people seem to like, which is if teachers were treated like sports stars. So it's a teaching center where you're seeing these teachers get these $1 million contracts, and based on tests.
My wife's a kindergarten teacher. I would love that. And she is it's funny you say that. She's like a celebrity. When kids see her at the grocery store, it's like they can't believe they're seeing. It's like the Muppets or something. It's so great.
That's so great.
You've got such great stuff in here too. You got suffrage, and she talk about you were talking about Tesla before we went to the break. That she met Tesla. That's a name we're all familiar with. What else has she done? Or tell us more about this character that sounds so fascinating.
Well, I mean, like I said, she was kind of really, even though she was Victorian and had her ways, she was about as independent as a person can be. And, she has stories that, she allegedly was robbed on a stagecoach by Jesse James.
Oh, wow.
So she had a lot of, stories. And at the time, before, she decided to do this, people were doing stunts in and around Niagara Falls. People were riding the rapids in barrels, but nobody would ever go over. People were doing tightrope walks across the falls. But she came up with an idea that was, in her mind, certain to grab attention. But yeah, as far as Tesla, there's also the assassination of William McKinley in this same, all kind of happening around this same time. Around this same time, you were seeing the rise of the women's suffrage movement. The girls were reading Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, but also fun things were happening. And one of the rings of the script is that all these new products were coming out around this time. So cornflakes got introduced, I think, in 1900 or something like that. And popsicles came out a couple of years later. But there's a character in the movie who is trying all these new things, and his line every time is, "I don't think it's going to last." He doesn't really Not a fan of cornflakes. Don't think it's going to. So the time period is a big part of the story, and even to the point, and I think we talked a little bit about this, the language of that time period is so fanciful and fun. And that was a lot of fun to try to get some of the language right.
Yeah. Also on the website, this script, you entered the script into the Beverly Hills Film Festival in 2020. Am I getting that right?
Yes, I received an official selection from Beverly Hills Film Festival, which was a nice laurel for the project, for sure.
Nice. So what do you do now? Like, you've got this. Are you talking to studios? Are you going to make it independently? You've got so much great stuff in here, so much meat, so to speak. What do you do?
It's a great question. Over the years, I've been in entertainment since the 1900s, and I've sold about 5 films and pilots and things like that, but none of them have been made. There's a lot of things getting shelved or, for one reason or another, over 20 years, I had all these projects. So this was one that I didn't really put out there too much, and I've always kind of wanted to try to find a way to get it made. So I thought, after the fires in LA, I decided to work on this. So I'm in Buffalo right now, and I'm visiting locations in Buffalo. I'm wearing my producer hat, and I'm trying to find partnerships with places that will let us shoot our movie. And I do have a few places that have agreed to cooperate with us. Some places have offered for us to shoot for free. So this legwork is hopefully something that will pay off next year, and we'll be back here with a budget. Now, whether that budget is $5 million or less, that would be considered a low. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but that's considered a low end, especially for a period with some special effects. We have a producer, a guy named Keith Raskin, who was the line producer on Key and Peele. So the reason Key and Peele looked good was because of Keith. He can make $100 look like $1,000 on camera.
Yeah.
So I'm working with Keith, and my goal in the next few months is to be around Buffalo. I'm visiting places all week, every week, from hotels to museums to art galleries to weird spaces that could be time period appropriate, and just trying to get a general sense of what they'll charge us. And then I'm going to try to go through the script. And because I'm also the writer, I could kind of, change where things happen, because I'm like, okay, I've got this barn. I know I've got this barn. So now maybe instead of it being in a church basement, the square dance could be in this barn, because I know I've got the barn, kind of a thing. So I can kind of,
totally.
So right now it's it's one of a few projects. I'm also just finishing a new screenplay with a partner, and we're going to do a table read of that in a couple of weeks. And these will probably be independently run projects. But if I can get, a celebrity to sign on as the lead character, then we might actually bring a bigger budget. So I'm kind of trying for both.
I got 2 words for you, Rich. Ethel Merman.
Is she available?
Probably. We haven't heard. What has she been doing?
That's true. This is her time. Well, the lead character is 63. I think Ethel is deceased, though, isn't she, Pete?
All the more reason.
Okay, give her her chance.
Elizabeth Hurley, we just I do these Hollywood beats here. She just turned 60. But you know what? I hate to say this, but a lot of times you have to write a character that you have access to, right? Like that you can get it in their hands and circumvent the agents and managers and all that. And I would think, there should be more roles for women that age, but maybe there aren't. So maybe that's a little easier for you. You got such a great resume with your Peabody and your Emmy noms and all your stuff you've written, right?
Thank you. Well, we'll see. A lot of it is like, will we get lucky? Will this happen? I met with the producer of Forrest Gump, and she told me it was 9 years from when they started working on it till when they were sitting there filming in Savannah, I think it was, with Tom Hanks. So, these are sometimes long projects, and it may take a while to find the right, especially if you're doing it independently. A studio could put its boot down and, make it happen in a month if they wanted to,
yeah.
But because we're trying to do this, I want to do it one way or the other. If a studio comes in, we'll be very happy. If a celebrity comes in, we'll be very happy. But if it ends up being a very small project, we might still try to do it. So right now I'm just hoping to do more spreading of the word. I'm doing some table reads here in Niagara at Niagara University. I'm going to do another one in Buffalo. I'm doing some virtual table reads just to try to get more people aware of what we're up to and to introduce them to Annie, because she's a super cool lady, and I want to tell her story.
Dude, you're the best. Thank you so much for being on the show. We'll do your slang. I love that. I saw it too late, but the slang term game, we'll do that next time.
Okay,
have a great
for sure.
night, Rich. Keep me posted, and we'll talk soon, buddy.
Thank you, Pete. Bye, everybody.
You're welcome. Say hi to Bob Bremerton, too. All right, it's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight. We're coming right back with Up North News is Christina Laurie.
Everyone around, love them, put it in your hands,
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Appleton Cigar Company on College Avenue has been serving the community for over 25 years. If you are a cigar aficionado looking for a one-of-a-kind experience, you need to check out Appleton Cigar, which boasts the largest selection of cigars north of Milwaukee with over 706 cigars to choose from in a walk-in humidor. The Cigar Lounge offers an impressive variety of spirits and cocktails that pair perfectly with a premium cigar. For the full experience, come to Appleton Cigar at 415 College Ave, Monday through Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. For more information, go to appletoncigar.com.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. In discussions over the so-called Big Beautiful Bill backed by Donald Trump that's making its way through Congress, none other than Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson has emerged as the most prominent Republican critic of the bill, saying at a recent Milwaukee Press Club event that it is, quote, not even close to adequate. Johnson has said he wants spending cuts to go even further, including making cuts to Medicaid. But Johnson's position as a critic of this bill makes him especially influential in these negotiations. But let's not forget the last time he was in a similar position. In 2017, he was a critic of the Trump tax cut bill, but what he fought for was a tax break for certain types of businesses, perhaps not coincidentally, businesses owned by his largest donors, Dick and Liz Uline. In 2018 alone, the Ulines received more than $200 million in tax breaks because of this bill. So as the Big Beautiful Bill is negotiated in the Senate, let's not forget this piece of recent history.
Find all of Dan's work at the Recombobulation area. Matt Nair on air.
State Representative Christian Phelps.
As somebody who's in my first term in the legislature, one of the striking things is how seldom the majority party speaks with us. I don't know how many of my colleagues personally feel LGBTQ people don't deserve freedom, but that's kind of irrelevant at the end of the day. They've already spent a number of days attacking trans people because those are days they don't have to spend defending their very unpopular economic agenda.
Matt Nair on air, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
The Elder Care Locator is here to help you live your best life as you age at home. Our call center advisors are ready to connect you with trustworthy local experts. Help is just a phone call away at 1-800-677-111.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? Then we wouldn't have to wait so long. And wouldn't it be nice to live together?
Such a
in
great
the
song.
kind of world where we be.
I'm Pete Schwaba. Welcome back to Nightlight. That is like, I think they said Brian Wilson makes songs to God or something like that. Like the way his music was described, especially like these anthems for young people. You know, wouldn't it be nice? That's what kids think about when they're young and in love and they want to be older. And it's like they fantasize and dream about this stuff. And he captured that voice so well. That is such a great tune. Welcome back to Nightlight, folks. Our question of the night: what was your best year? Conrad had his birthday yesterday, and he had an amazing night at his home, making chicken, partying like a 26-year-old should.
Yep.
Saving it for the weekend. Dave on the stream says, 18th year, legal drinking. Boy, you know Dave's from Wisconsin. Started dating my wife, Nancy. All right, Dave, that's a good one. I do remember that, actually. I think I could drink legally when I was 18. So I guess that's right. I read that and thought, man, that seems awfully young. You could have a few pops and go back for a homeroom if you're a senior in Wisconsin back in the 80s. All right, I'm very excited to welcome my next guest to the program. Folks, she is the editor of the Up North newsletter. This is one of the best things you'll ever read, especially if you love Wisconsin and just love reading about our state. Up North News makes it fun and engaging and insightful, and I can't put it down. Every day I get these updates in my email, and we'll tell you how you can do that because there's phenomenal factoids about Wisconsin and great informative news as well. Christina Laurie joins us now on the stream. Hey, Christina.
Hey, Pete, but don't set the bar too high, please. We're going to get people's hopes up.
Too late. Too late, my friend. This is great. How are you, by the way?
I'm good. And your little commentary was interesting there, though. If you think 18 is too young to drink, one of the stories that we recently had in our newsletter was about all of Wisconsin's weird laws. And here, as long as a parent is with you, you can drink as young as you want in a restaurant. So.
I find that strange.
So do I. Well, I don't know. Actually, I'm kind of torn because maybe the way to, normalize it is just to start younger, make it accessible, and then it's something that you don't feel like you have to hide. But then it is addictive. What if you have an addictive child and you don't know it? You're setting those habits young. I can really see it both ways, but it's a tough one. Wisconsin law.
Yeah, and I don't, like I said to my kids, I said, I'd like you to have a drink at home before you go off to college. I'd like you to see how alcohol affects you because I was a sloppy drunk. No, I'm kidding. Christina, don't hang up. Are you still there? Okay. Yes. But I wanted them to know how alcohol affected them, and neither one of them at the time had any interest. They're like, sorry, Dad, we just don't want to do it. My daughter still doesn't drink. My son drinks responsibly. But you're right. We do live in a state where there are some crazy laws. And do I have this right? And maybe you don't know this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. Does the Tavern League write laws about drinking in Wisconsin?
I'm not sure of their involvement.
Okay.
I know that there's like a lot of lobbying going on, and there's a lot of arguments for both sides because, we are always on the list of the drunkest counties in America. You see Wisconsin all lit up in red, and not for Badgers this time on those lists. So it is a very serious problem here, but I think they kind of they swing all kinds of different ways. There are some really strict laws, and then there are very lenient laws like that restaurant one.
Yeah. And I think, and I get it, they're your kids, but a lot of parents are idiots. Let's be honest. I mean, and
you said it, not me.
No, well, some are, some aren't. I mean, I'm not, judging anybody. Parenting is tough, but well, let's not dwell on alcohol. You know what? Let's keep it on alcohol, Christina, actually, because you did a great piece recently. And I'm excited to talk to you about some summer things that we like to eat and drink in Wisconsin. And the Food Network weighs in on some of this stuff. The Brandy Old Fashioned is our state drink, I know. You did a piece on that recently and where you can find the best old fashioned. Where did you find the best old fashioned for Up North News?
Yes. So we have a series going on for the entire month of June. There's an article that Food Network put out not too long ago that was the 25 most iconic eats and drinks from America's Dairyland. So I thought it would be interesting to just kind of break it down day by day and get that outsider's point of view. They call themselves the Food Network. They're supposed to be experts, right? So what do they like best about our state? So what you mentioned, one of the days we've already featured was the Brandy Old Fashioned, because here in Wisconsin, it's atypical in other states, apparently, to make old fashions with brandy, but that's what we use here. And the reason why we use it is actually really interesting. It comes because a lot of immigrants here, they were frugal because they didn't have a lot of money when they first arrived here. And at the 1893 Columbian Expo in Chicago, they were handing out a bunch of free samples of Korbel's brandy. Wow. So they started using them for that reason when they came back up north in their old fashions, and then it's stuck ever since.
And that's still. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was just going to mention that you had asked where the best old fashioned was. Well, according to Food Network, it's at Ding-a-Ling Supper Club in Orfordville. That's a super fun name. I have never personally been there. The favorite that we usually feature at Up North is just by default the supper club that tends to sell the most old fashioned, and that of course is Ishnala in the Dells.
I love that, and I love Dingling. I was waiting for you to say that because I knew a serious journalist like yourself would have trouble. We have a quick call we'd like to squeeze in here. It's Cindy from Appleton, and she wants to talk about the Tavern League. Cindy, we've got about 30 seconds. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
I have a few things quick. First of all, I just came from Parker John's, who had made me tonight a Southern Comfort Fashion maple bacon old-fashioned, complete with a strip of bacon.
Wow.
And one of the other reasons we decided to do old-fashions is because of the bitters, and the bitters we have before dinner because the bitters help you to get your digestive juices going. And number 3, the Tavern League has a huge influence on the laws that are made, and they have a huge lobbying group in Madison, so they are very powerful.
Wow. Thank you so much for the call. And old fashions are healthy. There you go, Cindy. We're coming right back with Christina Laurie and more talk from Up North News.
From Hobart to Bay Settlement, 97.9 WGBW. Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packard. Demonstrators against President Trump's immigration crackdown expected to rally for a 6th evening in Los Angeles. The tone of the demonstration seeming much calmer today. Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna urging protesters to make their voices heard peacefully.
We will facilitate all peaceful First Amendment activity.
As opposed to last night when LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell says 3 individuals were arrested and charged with attacks against officers.
These were deliberate attacks. Acts that injured officers who were simply doing their job out there to protect the public.
U.S. and Chinese officials say they've reached a tentative agreement to get trade relations back on track. Details scarce, but President Trump said China will make it easier for the U.S. to get much-needed magnets and rare earth minerals. In Gaza, the IDF says it recovered 2 bodies of deceased hostages in Khan Yunis, a city in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. This is ABC News.
The Brewers fall to the Braves. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers lost to the Braves today, 6-2. Milwaukee right-hander Chad Patrick struggled on the mound, giving up the first 5 runs. Manager Pat Murphy.
You know, he's been so great for us. He's a rookie. He's never faced being in that spot, so maybe that's going to be a good learning experience for him. We still have full confidence. He still got through 5.
So the Braves leave town winning the series 2-1. The Brewers beginning a 4-game home series tomorrow night against the St. Louis Cardinals. NBA Finals, the Pacers, led by Oshkosh native Therese Halliburton, hosting the Thunder tonight. That series tied 1 game apiece. NFL at the Packers minicamp. Wide receiver Bo Melton asked what his brother, Max Bolton, a defensive back for the Cardinals, had to say when he learned that he was trying out at defensive back.
Yeah, so when he seen it, he called me like, what the hell are you doing? Just because, I've been playing wide out. It's just something that, came up. I'm going to, give it a shot.
That's the Packers' Bo Melton. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Actor and star of Dark Waters Mark Ruffalo has agreed to join the cast of Being Human and is the last name of the film's hero, Judy Human, a disability rights activist from the 1970s. The film will be directed by CODA director Sean Hayter. Ruffalo's part is undisclosed, but is said to be a key role, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Ruffalo is a 4-time Oscar nominee and native Wisconsinite. Can you imagine living in a house that was featured in a famous TV show? Joanne Quintana doesn't have to imagine it because it's real. She lives in the house that was used in Breaking Bad as Walter White's family home. Apparently, she is getting a little tired of people standing outside and staring. So much so that she recently turned a hose on them, and she'll do it again. A video was shared on Instagram by an influencer named Santi, who captured her hosing down gawkers, according to the New York Post. Quintana says she gets so tired of the onlookers, she's listed the home and is asking for $4 million, probably because her water bills are so high. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Occasional clouds for tonight and tomorrow. A slight chance of a sprinkle or shower. Lows of 50 to 55 and highs of 70 to 75. Some smoke also around. More rain possible Thursday night and Friday. Highs only 60 to 65. Currently at 75 degrees.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
Ken, as I like to call him, my least favorite Martin, chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
The other night I said to myself for the first time, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Matt Flynn.
You go into combat and the general goes, I'm afraid. He reminds me of the coach of the Jets back in the 90s. The other team would come on the field and say, boy, they look big. No, I swear to God. And the Jets lost 12 games. I mean, You can't have this kind of stuff. Get this guy out of here. Put in Ben Wickler.
The Todd Albaugh Show. Weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Lily Roberts, she is from the Center for American Progress Action Fund.
They're trying to pretend that this bill would be good for the working class because of this really small carve out to our tax laws. The no tax on tips piece does not at all even come close to addressing the problem of wages in this country. You know, a third of workers who work for tips in the first place don't make enough money to pay taxes at all.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekday afternoons 4 until 6 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Does President Trump have legal authority to send in troops when the governor doesn't ask for it?
When I grow up to be a man, will I dig the same things that turned me on as a kid? Welcome back. Will I look back and say that I wish I had
Sort of celebrating the life, or the music, I should say, of Brian Wilson tonight here at Nite Lite. I am Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me on this Wednesday night in packed downtown Green Bay. Why do I always think I'm going to find street parking on a Wednesday, Conrad?
That's a good question. There's a perfectly good parking ramp over there.
Would it kill you to be out there and just kind of hold a spot for me and stand there until I pull in?
I feel like I would get ran over.
Probably by one of those loud muffler people. I don't know what's going on here. Hey, tomorrow night on the show, folks, more fun. Beauty queen and security expert Jenna Watkins will be here. Jenna's a great guest. She's been on the show before. I judged a costume contest with her at Sputnik Fest in Manitowoc. That's where I met Jenna, and she is a lot of fun. And her insight, she does cybersecurity during the day. She's just really fun to talk to about that subject. So we will talk to Jenna tomorrow. And also, Papa John's owner, Danny Bem, will be here grilling pizza on site, folks. So you won't want to miss that. That's all kinds of fun tomorrow. That's how we Thursday here at Nite Lite. Right now, I am excited to get back to our guest. Christina Laurie from Up North News is joining us here. We were talking about old fashions. Christina, that was interesting what Cindy from Appleton said on her call. She actually had bacon in her old fashioned. Have you ever had one of those?
I have not. I'm actually like one of your kids. Was it your daughter who doesn't really drink?
Yeah.
I don't really belong here because personally, I don't drink. Luckily, I do love cheese. So
there you go.
I have that going.
You have to at least do one of those things, right?
I think otherwise you get your Wisconsin driver's license revoked.
Well, what I think is funny too is Wisconsinites start talking about when we start talking about drinks, and like Cindy did it there. She's like, "Oh, on the bitters, it's good for your digestive system." It's like, yes, of course, drinking is healthy. That's why we
absolutely.
need to.
You have to find. It's funny. We've done stories too, like talking about something that I like with cheese, where we try to find the health benefits too. Like, there's the calcium is actually really good for your teeth. I've interviewed dentists about that. It's a very niche subject, but if we find a health benefit of cheese, then we can just rationalize eating as much as we want, right?
Exactly. Let's stick with summer food and drink here, because I noticed the theme recently, and you got, like you said, the Food Network has weighed in on a lot of this stuff. Let's talk brats. How are you when it comes to bratwursts in your Wisconsin residency? Do you like brats?
I do, yes. I like pretty much any case meat. I would take a Polish, an Italian, a hot dog. I'm originally from the Chicago area, so I feel like that's very hot dog heavy. I grew up a lot eating, I would go to a lot of Sox games, so I'd get hot dogs there. So I would say I tend to lean towards more of that than bratwurst, but I also have a lot of fond memories growing up and having tailgates outside Illini games, and my uncle would always make brats. So I'm very much a brat with grilled onions on it. What's your topping of choice?
I think on a brat, it's raw onions. And it's interesting because I think we talked about this a little bit last time. I know this is sacrilege because I grew up on the northwest side of Chicago, a couple miles west of Wrigley Field. And I used to like Chicago hot dogs. I love the toppings and the poppy seed bun, but I'll go Wisconsin brat any day over the Chicago dog or even a good Italian sausage. But I like raw onions.
Okay, that's a little controversial. I mean, I guess we can continue speaking, but
wait,
I actually
controversial with you or in general?
I don't know. I just like everyone I know. I don't know that I really see that many people having raw onions. It's always grilled, right?
I guess so. Conrad, what do you think? We need a tiebreaker here.
I don't know. I think I'm in the middle too. Like it's tough.
I would do, honestly, Christina, I would do grilled onions as well. How about some nice giardiniera on there, like on an Italian beef or something? I could go giardiniera. Does that?
Yes,
win
yeah,
me?
yeah. You
Am I
redeemed
back in
yourself a bit.
Okay.
Maybe we need to send a man on the street out to Sheboygan, which is the bratwurst capital of the world, to figure
That's where I
this
was
out.
steering you. Yeah. Okay, so tell us more. And there's a place there I'm looking for right now because I did write it down in Sheboygan that has the best brats.
Yes. I was just trying to dig it up as well. It's unfortunate. Okay, so this is the issue with this list that we have. So it came out about 2 years ago from the Food Network, and unfortunately, some of these places closed. So Food Network's pick was the Charcoal Inn.
That's
for the
right.
best bratwurst, but luckily, you don't have to go far to find a list of the best brats in Wisconsin. So we also shared this list of 10. I can just rattle them off really quickly.
Sure.
In Madison, Bavaria Sausage Kitchen. In the Dalles, Brat House Grill. In Kenosha, the Brat Stop. In Cable, Garmisch USA Resort. Sheboygan, Mies Fields. That's a classic. People love that one. They make 50 different kinds of sausages.
What?
Including 24 different types of brats. The options are insane there. They have like apple sauerkraut brats to cranberry cheddar brats. They also have low sodium brats. If we were talking about healthy foods, that's how we can make it healthy there. Then there's Nolchek's Meats in Thorpe, Wisconsin, a community of just 1,600 people, and they made the list. Otto's Beer and Brat Garden in Minocqua, sorry. Steinhaus in La Crosse, Usinger's Sausage Shop in Milwaukee, of course, and then Windsor's Stube in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Wow.
So there's something on that list for everyone, hopefully in every part of the state as well. And then if we didn't mention it for you, I mean, I'm glad some smaller towns made the list, but that's the issue. We publish a lot of these lists where we'll say like, the top 10 insert item here. And we know every time I press send, I know I'm opening a bag of worms because someone is always going to feel left out. And a lot of times it is from these smaller communities because our lists will be like the most reviewed places. So if we're doing a list from Yelp, someone from Thorpe is probably not going to make the top 10, even if they are the best. So
that's a great point.
Just know it's hard, and know that I personally feel bad that your favorite is not on our list. And I do love when people write in because then I do sometimes find out about places I would have never heard of otherwise, and they are great hole in the walls. So I love shouting those out as well.
Don't you think too, like I'm not an expert, but I've made brats at home. Sometimes I put them in beer. It's pretty tough to screw up a brat, right? To at least make it serviceable. Maybe it's not going to taste as good as some of those places you just listed, but it's going to be a decent sandwich, right?
Very true. But then we open up an entire other controversy. We've asked our readers this question before as well. What's the correct way to cook a brat? And people have very strong opinions.
And it's not to put it in beer, right?
That is a very popular option in Wisconsin. Go figure.
It is, but I think purists. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, no, I want to know what purists do.
I thought we had someone on recently, maybe you remember this, Con, that said that is not the way to do brats if you're a purist. But I like them like that.
Well, mine, I like it as grilled as possible, like almost like blackened.
Oh yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah, I like them. I like them well done too. You should make sausage meat well done, in my opinion, in general. Hey, if we could pivot here, I want to talk to you also about you guys did something recently, and your question you asked was, where is the Midwest? And I was surprised that most people outside the Midwest don't consider Wisconsin, Minnesota, or Michigan Midwestern states. How is that possible?
Yeah, we need to address this problem in our schools, I feel like. I mean,
yes.
I see where they're coming from, because if you look at a map of the United States, it is confusing that we are, like, if you think about it too deeply, why are we called the Midwest when really it's the Mideast?
True.
Just geographically looking. So I am wondering where they got their polling population, though, because anyone who's ever been to the Midwest would know that, like, Wisconsin is pretty much the heart of the Midwest. But
I think so too.
But according to this poll, the most Midwestern state would be Iowa, which I feel like they could deserve it.
Okay.
I wouldn't argue with that. But there's people as far west as Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado calling
That makes no
themselves
sense.
part of the Midwest. No, they cannot be part of the Midwest. I think it's even debatable if North and South Dakota are part of it.
Oh, I would agree with that. I mean,
yeah. What do you think?
Well, I don't think North Dakota, certainly. Look, I did stand up back in the day in North Dakota. There were a couple clubs there I worked once a year, and I don't have the people are wonderful, but there is not much to see there. The topography, it's very different than Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan, I would say. And maybe you could say we're northern states because we're sort of at the top of the U.S. But like, I was surprised in your poll, or what you guys published in Up North News, 94% of Wisconsinites say they're Midwestern. Okay, fine. I was surprised 6% don't think they are.
I was too. And I think that brings up a different question. Is Midwestern, is it more, it seems like this poll had a lot to do with geography. But when I think Midwestern, I kind of think of more of a culture, like, the types of food that we have, that we're overly friendly, our different culture and customs. Like, to me, that is more innately Midwestern than just our geography.
I would agree with that. Certainly, I don't think Oklahomans, am I saying that right? Oklahomans, yeah. I don't think they're really Midwest. They seem more West to me, but I get what you're saying.
But if they want to be part of our club, like, cool. Come on. We live in a place, we live in the Midwest. Everyone wants to be us. That was my
All are welcome. Yeah, exactly. So there's two more things I want to bring up with you. Okay, three. I just saw another one of my questions. Limburger cheese. You wrote this in Up North News, has the same bacteria as feet. Like, Limburger cheese to some people is gross enough, but when they read that, what is the connection there?
So, yeah, the bacteria that grows on feet that makes them smell bad, particularly, is the cheese that gives Limburger its extremely pungent smell. I mean, if you are sensitive to blue cheese, if you've never smelled Limburger, I mean, it's blue cheese times 1,000. It's brutal. Wow. I don't know how people get past it. I can't even do blue cheese, and I love cheese. It just is the smell. I have a sensitive nose, I guess. I just can't get past it. But Limburger cheese, in order to become Limburger, it has to age a certain amount, and it develops this bacteria that is found on your feet. But if you like it, you like it because it has a really diehard fan club, and Monroe, Wisconsin is the only place in the world that makes it still.
I think that's so crazy. And I think
and
if you're
probably
on,
is
like,
for a reason.
Yeah, right. I just think it's like, I don't have any interest. I actually like blue cheese, but now I'm rethinking that after reading this or after you just said that, because the connection, cheese can smell really bad. Like Parmesan cheese can smell horrible. And I don't eat a lot of cheese, but I do like blue cheese, like with some balsamic on a salad or something, or some walnuts. I don't even think I can maybe do that anymore. That's horrible.
Well, and if you think that Limburger isn't smelly enough to begin with,
yeah,
the official way that people eat it in Wisconsin is usually on a slice of like pumpernickel bread with raw onions and horseradish. So if it didn't smell bad enough already, just add the raw onions on top. And then what's funny is that places like Baumgarten's, that's the most popular place in Monroe to get a sandwich, they actually serve it with an Andes mint right on top. You just know ahead of time you're going to need that.
Softens the blow. Christina Laurie is here. We'll have a couple more minutes with Christina after this very short break. I'm going to ask her about the best beaches in Wisconsin. That's coming up next on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba in the Civic Media Radio Network.
What will I be? Will I grow up to be a man?
As Wisconsin has a fish fry on a Friday night, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Escape to paradise this summer at Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells. Spacious accommodations, perfect for families or romantic getaways. Voted top 10 best water parks in the U.S., championship golf, the longest zip line in the area, and the #1 steakhouse in Wisconsin. Book a Chula Vista Resort all-inclusive package now at 1-800-388-4782 or visit chulavistaresort.com. Your summer paradise awaits.
Are you ready for some original funk, rock, and reggae? Well, if you're not, then it's time to start getting ready. It's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you, brought to you by Area 509 in Appleton. And speaking of Area 509, join them this Saturday from 6 till 10 to listen to Illuminati as they return to their outdoor stage. So enjoy great music, delicious Caribbean food, and cold drinks. This Saturday, 6 to 9, head to WGBW.FM and click events to find out more.
Hometown Quick Lube in Manitowoc takes this time to say thank you to all of the brave men and women in the armed forces who've served our country. Business owners, consider hiring these veterans. They're our most dependable resource. To those heroes back home for missions abroad, know that your dedication, selflessness, and courage are appreciated. May God bless America. This from Hometown Quick Lube on North 10th Street in Manitowoc. Call 920-684-4550.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Dr. Kristen Lyerly.
Mayor of Sheboygan, Ryan Sorensen.
If you want strong communities, you need to have strong, quality childcare accessibility in your community. You know, whether you have kiddos or not, it impacts you, whether directly or indirectly. And that's why, you know, being supportive of programs from the state level that can support local agencies is vitally, vitally important. So it's all intertwined.
This is not just for parents of small children.
This is mission critical.
The Dr. Kristen Lyerly Show. Saturday and Sunday afternoons at 3 on WGBW and WISS. And the Civic Media.
Welcome back. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. I am Pete Schwaba. Folks, you have 2 more days to play Civic Media's Scotty Summer Text to Win contest. It ends Friday, June 13th, which is right around the corner. You have to have the app to play, which most of you probably already have. All you have to do is get the keyword and text in at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 4 p.m., and you will be eligible to win hourly prizes, which consist of $100 cash in your pocket. That's tax-free, ladies and gentlemen. Clear, as they say, or Milwaukee Brewers club level seats. Great seats out at American Family. Is it American Family Field, Conrad?
No, it's Miller Park.
It's Miller Park. Well, if we're going to do that, I'll just say County Stadium. Every hourly entry qualifies you to win 2 grand prize trips, one to Door County and one to Baraboo, both beautiful parts of our state. Good luck, everybody. It ends, like I said, on the 13th. Our texts for our question, what was your best year? This is on the heels of Conrad's 26th birthday yesterday. Bridget from the 818 says, very difficult question. I'm not sure how to answer. I will get back to you. Okay, Bridget, we'll be waiting. I love that someone took the time out to say that. That's like when you do a poll and people call in and say, I don't know. And they're in the undecided category. Steady Eddie, he's in the 608. He says, Pete, my best year, I think, was when I was 11. Summer days playing baseball and fishing in the sun. No cares, no worries. Just fun, fun, fun till my daddy took my T-Bird away. Well done, Steady Eddie, with the Beach Boys reference, which he called out there. Pete, I was in heaven when I was 11. Steady Eddie. Well done. Oh, and then he put, Conrad, this keeps going. There's more to this. Did you know this?
Yeah.
He said, if I could be 11 again, wouldn't it be nice? I'm not going to sing it, but he's referencing the song by the Beach Boys. Awesome stuff, Steady Eddie, as usual. Jameson in Pennsylvania, he's in the 814, says, middle of the road, cooked peppers and onions. Never caramelized. I need texture, not mush. Raw is good, too. Thank you, Jameson. I think Jameson just built a bridge between me and my guest, Up North News' Christina Laurie. What do you think about that, Christina? Do you think we just found common ground?
I think I misspoke when I forgot to mention peppers, because that is a key ingredient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good call.
I totally agree. Hey, so you guys, you did a post recently too that said, this really caught my attention. That's another thing you guys do. Your headlines are great. You just grab people, and this said 6 ocean-like beaches in Wisconsin. Well, I'm clicking immediately, and I had no idea some of these places existed. I've heard more and more about the Apostle Islands, which I have to check out because I've never been up there. But tell us about 6 ocean-like beaches in Wisconsin.
Well, first, thank you for complimenting my headline, because it sounds like so ridiculous, because it's, probably like on a good day, it'll be 5 or 6 words. It takes so long to come up with something that is short and just clickable. So thank you for saying that.
You're very welcome. You guys do a great job. You do a great job of it.
Well, and we have certainly a lot to brag about here in Wisconsin when it comes to beaches. Lake Michigan, beautiful. You mentioned the Apostle Islands. I want to give a special shout out to Schoolhouse Beach on Washington Island. It's one of the only all rock beaches in the world. And when you first hear all rocks, you would think like, oh, disaster zone. Why would I want to go there? These are smooth pebbles. They're not normal rocks. Ooh. And they're actually so rare, so beautiful, and so protected that if you take one from the beach, you will be fined $200. So
no kidding.
That ahead of time. Yes.
Wow.
Which is good, because we want to protect it. It is so beautiful. It was also voted one of the clearest beaches in the world. I mean, it's pristine. It almost looks like the water that I've only seen in photos of Greece, where it's like that color blue that almost doesn't seem real. So that's an especially beautiful one. But the list of 6 beaches, I mean, they kind of span the entire state. There's Bradford Beach in Milwaukee. There's Big Bay Beach on Madeline Island up north. There's North Beach in Racine. And do you have a favorite beach?
Well, I live in the Marinette area. I'm a 715er, so there are nice beaches there, and I live pretty close to the water in a small community, an old Chautauqua settlement near the water. We have good, our water fluctuates. Sometimes it's a great beach, but then sometimes the water level goes too low. We're a bay off of Green Bay, or we're on Green Bay, I should say. I really want to go see the Apostle Islands, and I'm conflicted because they're islands and they're not, you have to get out there somehow. I am not a boatsman, Christina. I am not seaworthy. I don't know how I feel about going out to these islands, but I have to do it because they sound beautiful. Even when I go to Door County, we go to Door County a lot. I don't go to Washington Island, and I need to check that out too.
I think taking an official tour is the way to go. Be a tourist in your own backyard, like they say. That's
very well said. Hey, this was fun, as always. I appreciate your time, and I love the work you do at Up North News, and I hope we get to do this again soon, because you're a great guest and really fun to talk to.
That is so nice of you to say. Thank you so much. And I just want to let your listeners know that we recently launched a new newsletter that comes out on Saturdays. Previously, we were only sending stuff out Monday through Friday. but now we send out an all sports newsletter that's on Saturdays.
Oh.
And even if you don't think that you're like the world's biggest sports fan, I just kind of dive into like the more of the niche topics, like the behind the scenes stuff, the people stories, the things the players are doing off the field or the court. So give it a try. If you like our normal weekday newsletter, we'd love to have you sign up for that other one as well.
I can't believe I forgot to ask you this too, but how can people find Up North News if they're not already aware of it?
That is a great point. First, shame on you if you've never heard of us. Where have you been?
Exactly.
I'm kidding. Our website is just upnorthnewswi.com. And right at the top, there's a subscribe banner. All you have to do is click it, enter your email. We don't even need your name, no phone number, of course, no payment. And you'll just sign up for our free newsletter.
The perfect newsletter if you're on the lam or avoiding the law. It's outstanding and totally anonymous. Thank you, my friend. Always fun. Have a great night, and let's talk soon.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye, guys.
All right. Christina Laurie, check out Up North News. Good stuff tonight, Conrad.
Oh, yeah.
You were kind of quiet, I will say.
Sorry.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right. The post-birthday blues. Hey, we're coming back to do all this again tomorrow night. Thanks so much for being with me tonight, folks. Thank you to Christina Laurie. Thank you to Rich Talarico, Bob Bremerton, and thank you for all your texts and calls. On behalf of the lovable producer, Conrad, good night, Wisconsin.
Take me